How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you a review of Matt Reeves's The Batman. That's right, The Batman. It is the, I guess, umpteenth time we've gotten a soft or hard reboot on the Batman, or Batman himself. And as a matter of fact, before I even go any further, please, I would like you to hit the like button. Give me a comment if you've seen the movie or haven't seen the movie, or if you plan on seeing the movie. Spoilers are going to be in this one, and please do not forget to subscribe if you're new here. If you're not new here, please hit the notification bell. Matter of fact, even if you are new here, hit that notification bell right next to the subscribe button to be notified for more videos like this, and do not forget to share the video. So, I had the great honor of watching this movie. Uh, it, it the runtime is 2 hours and 58 minutes. It's you might as well just round that up. It is literally a 3 hour movie, and it is insane because I didn't realize I knew how long this movie was, but I didn't realize how far I was in it until I was at the hour 45 minute. I think. When did I check check the time? I think I checked the time when it was around 5:30, and I'm late with this one because life and duty calls, but at the same time I was trying to go over in my mind any nitpicks I actually had. Like, I was trying to find every reason for this movie to not be the score that I'm going to give it. And stay tuned for that score. So what is the Batman? So it's starring Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne slash Batman. We have Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth. I we have Zoe. Oh my God, I cannot believe I forgot her last name. Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter, as Selena Kyle, Catwoman, and we have Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner. Not Commissioner. He's not Commissioner. I'm sorry. As Jim Gordon. Um, I cannot for the life of me tell you who actually plays the Riddler in the movie. Yes, the villain in this movie is the Riddler. Now, what's interesting about the name The Batman is that back in 2000, well, I checked it, it said 2004, but I prominently remember the show in 2005 and 2006. But from 2004 to 2006 slash 2007, we had, no, it's 2006. I remember this. We have a show. WB had a cartoon called The Batman. That was the soft reboot after the animated series by Bruce Timm had come and gone. Which I have. There's some nitpicks on that show. After Batman Beyond was gone, the Batman actually had our first black voice actor play the Joker, um, and it was very much, and it's very interesting. As I made a joke on my Facebook, and if you're coming from my Facebook to this video, thank you. I made a joke about having already seen the Batman. It's very interesting because this show reminds me of the Batman. I'm going to very much live. Huh. Uh, right. I need to tell you who played the Batman because the voice. Who's the voice? I want to say James. Is it James Romero? Man, I cannot remember his name for the life of me. Reno Romano. He's done tons of voiceover stuff. If you've actually heard him, I implore you to look up clips of the Batman. Actually, he had a movie called The Batman versus Dracula. Really, really good. I implore you to look him up. He's done tons of voiceover stuff. And the crazy thing about this show, The Batman, is very much just him going through doing detective work. He fights villains of the week as always, but it's just him. And actually, he starts off getting Batgirl first, and then he gets Robin towards his fifth season. When he gets to his fifth season, that's when he starts running the Justice League people. He actually has to fight them because of a Brainiac thing with Flash and Superman and Martian Man. It's really good show towards the end. Ended up getting canceled, but that's okay. Now, it's pretty cool that in the Batman, we had a black guy voicing the Joker because we have a black Jim Gordon and we're black Catwoman once again. We are 3 for 3 for black Catwoman. And as much as I'm not going to blame Halle Berry for the bad Catwoman movie, I'll blame the writing and directing on that one. Zoe does a really excellent job. There's several things I want to go over. I actually have notes, guys. I got some notes, and I'm going to do my best. Now, I'm not going to recant this movie as a 3-hour movie. I don't do that. If you're new here, I don't do that. I do that for animes and for shorter shows. If it's at least under an hour, I will do it. But this, I'm just going to go over some stuff. So, first thing I would definitely like to go over here is the music. Uh, I tried not to listen to anybody's reviews. Someone did have a non-spoiler review earlier in the week, and I did listen to it. And they complained about the music being a little bit too emo. And I'm gonna be straight up with you. Like the famous musical choice they had fit the mood perfectly. And the theme called Water Tower by Michael Giacchino, anytime it played, it invoked the mood. One of the amazing things, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to mix music with pace and mood. I'm just adding mood to my notes now because this movie starts off the Batman. You get the title right away. No awkward, someone's gonna say it, or you gotta wait to the end because it says it in the end, but it says in the very beginning. And anytime the water tower that song plays, and I will put a link to the official link of the song in the description. Amazing. The pace of this movie, the first, and someone now I do have to agree with some reports. Just the first 2 acts in this movie, stuff is happening, stuff is going, and you know what? It's funny because nothing feels like it doesn't feel overpaced. It doesn't feel underpaced. It feels perfectly paced for a story. Um, and what is that story, you're asking me? Well, we are in year 2 of Batman being Batman. He's already met Gordon. He's already set up the bat signal using the bat thing that he has. Parents already has already died. We're not recanting that. We're not rehashing that. It plays a part, but you don't have to go through and see that in a flashback or anything. It's year 2 of Batman being Batman. He's on crime scenes. He is Detective Batman, just like in the Detective comics, not just DC, but the detective version of Batman in comic books, where he's going over stuff with the police. He's analyzing things. He's using clues. And our main villain in here is the Riddler. And this is a very interesting and very real world take on the Riddler. I definitely can't wait to get to that part, but yeah. And the Riddler is killing off people one by one, but these are not just random people. These are people that have to do with Gotham, and they seem to be corrupt in some way. After he's killed someone, he releases videotape and things that have been like, yeah, this is why this person had to die. This is why they got it. We're not going to stand for lies anymore. As a matter of fact, he starts off by killing the mayor, and the first person to see the mayor's body is the son. So from this moment, this is and I love this about this movie. There are points in the movie where they is a plot thread and it carries throughout the whole movie so beautifully when it goes, oh man, that was a really good thing they did there. Because once Batman comes in, he sees a little tiny footprint and blood, and Gordon tells him, yeah, the son saw him. And Batman also has an interaction with officer named Ramirez, who puts his hand on the chest. Like everybody's made way for Batman to come through. He's like, "Hey man, this is an active crime scene," and Gordon's like, "He's with me." That character comes back later on when we're at Riddler's home base, where Batman comes in because he has been told by Riddler himself, "Oh, you're not as smart as I thought you were because you didn't see this whole thing through." And that guy he ends up helping. And it's one of the notes I have here is that no character in this movie feels like filler, and it's so important. Like we have, and I have for characters, I will go through them. We have obviously Bruce, we have Selena Kyle, Alfred, Riddler, Falcone, we have Gordon, we have Penguin. We even the smaller characters like the mayor. There's Mitchell, the one who was killed, but then there was this black female mayor. Cannot remember her name, but she plays a role as well. Everyone, even the minor characters of background, are placed so perfectly, and you get a touch of these people's personalities. Like her whole thing, and it's such. It's so funny. Her whole thing is about change. Like you see the billboards. If if you're old enough to remember the campaign, 2008 campaign for Barack Obama, the whole change. We're going to change Gotham. If you know anything about Batman, whether it's comics, cartoons, or anything of that nature, Gotham is a cesspool. It is corrupt, not just from the streets, but from all the way up. It's corrupt as hell. And so she wants to change things. Yeah, it's mm, you don't know if she's actually going to be able to do that. I already mentioned the setting being year two. Some of the filming was done in Liverpool, London. Some of it was in Scotland, and a lot of it was done in Chicago. You can't come on, guys. When you see that L train, that above monorail, not a lot of places in the world, not a lot of places in the U.S. have it. New York has a few of those, but Chicago filled with those things. I apologize that I'm not wearing a Batman shirt. It was so hot in that theater. Just, I sweat through that thing. You guys don't need to see a sweaty Batman shirt. But yeah, um, amazing setting. Just, I love that since Christopher Nolan's the Batman, I love how, I need to write something down. I love since they basically use Chicago as a template. And when you think about real world places in DC universe, Metropolis kind of feels like a upscale New York, kind of like a very bustling metropolitan area. And then Gotham, there's Gotham that deeply feels like Chicago. If you know, you know, right? Um, let's go through some things. Let me go about Bruce. Obviously he's the main character, and I love that we are kind of what not kind of we are watching things through his eyes. The movie starts off with a voiceover of him, and if you've had any doubts about Robert Pattinson being Bruce Wayne and Batman, I don't care how small he may have looked, he looks he's a really interesting take on a Bruce Wayne because this is his second year being Batman. This is a guy who is still raw with emotion, still thinking about his parents' death and his parents' legacy, trying to do good in this place. And he says some really Batman stuff. Like he's like, they when the bat signal goes up, he's like, I try to fight through using fear. And we see three instances. We see people on the train that have already they have videotape of them punching a guy out and harassing someone. They're about to harass a nice Asian man. We see a guy who's wearing like a onion headed mask, which I think was an allusion to the Scarecrow. And we also see there was another person doing a bad. There's someone else doing a bad thing. I don't remember what it is. No, spray painters. They were spray painting City Hall, and when the bat signal goes up, Bruce Batman is saying like they see that signal, and it's not just a symbol; it's a warning. I instill fear in them, and that's his whole thing. Another thing he says that's very Batman is, "I am a shadow. They think they see me in the shadows," or "I am vengeance." That's such a Batman thing. He doesn't call himself Justice, which kind of a missed opportunity, but he says such Batman things. He fits the role perfectly, but at the same time, he is such an a hole, and that's another plot thread. I have three. He goes through several. He goes through a couple of arcs all throughout this movie, especially one with Alfred. Alfred almost dies because Bruce Wayne is on the hit list of the Riddler. The Riddler wants him to pay for the sins of his father, which that's actually one of the things that have was changed from regular kind of known continuity. He wants him to pay for the things that his dad did, so he sends him a bomb. He was already out with Gordon questioning Penguin and actually getting in contact with the Riddler. And Alfred gets hurt. And it's because Alfred getting hurt, he realized how much he cares about him. Like we have a moment where um we have a moment where Bruce goes on about Alfred not being his father. He's like, you're not my dad. Then there's another one where Alfred gives him cufflinks for the funeral. You've seen the funeral clips online. And on there it has Wayne on it. And he's like, so what's your Wayne now? He's like, your father gave these to me. Where he kind of smiles a bit, and he's just it takes Alfred almost dying being in that bed for him to understand how much he cares about Alfred. And it also takes, Alfred, he still gets on Alfred's case about the hidden things, about not knowing his father's connection to Falcone, or Falcone, however you want to say it, played by was it John, Turturro. Some people said they couldn't buy it. I bought it. I bought him being Falcone. Really good job. Really amazing actor. Um, but it took almost losing Alfred for him to finally hold his hand and says, you know what, I care about you. I never thought I would feel the same fear I felt the day I saw my parents get killed. It's great. There's a little boy. I'm just gonna call him Little Mitchell, the boy that saw his father get his father came and saw his father's mangled body by the Riddler. And when the commissioner, that other commissioner, who's also corrupt and gets killed, when he comes in, and they got to get Batman out of there because they got to talk to the press. You see, you see Bruce linger on just looking at the kid. He's just, you can tell he has a lot of emotion going on. He remembers being in this position, and just completely empathizes and sympathizes with this kid. As a matter of fact, it's throughout the whole movie. Even when he was at the funeral as himself, as Bruce Wayne, he protected this kid. And when we get into our to the end of the final act, where everything is flooding and there are Riddler militia, which is just insane. He ends up protecting this boy again. Um, his arc with Selena, where it came to, is there's obvious some sparks between them. There's something going on between them. Where he's intrigued by her, she's intrigued by him, and he ends up, like, he sees the bad in people, much how she does as well, because her whole thing is stealing, and they do a good job of showing why she wanted to steal. Because I'll get into that. I'm gonna go into the changes in a second. Uh, they do a really good job of why she wants to steal, and even in the end, he convinces her to not get revenge on Falcone for killing her friend and for doing her dirty as his illegitimate child, and not killing the officer that also had a hand in killing her friend. And he does a little arc with Bruce Batman with the people. He had good rapport with the officer, the first person who spoke to him incorrectly in the movie. The guys tell him, yeah, he killed him with the carpenter tool. My dad used to do work, and that's how Bruce thought. Wait a minute, pop up the floorboards. Here's a map of Gotham. Oh no, he's gonna try to sink it or flood the city, I should say. Um, and even with the people instilling through fear, there's one of my favorite things I wrote here. It's also in the trailers where he has a flare. He does a great job of showing self-sacrifice, where he has to. Everything's flooded, things are destroyed, and they're in a Gotham stadium, and the scoreboard on top is falling. It's sparking with electricity. He jumps, takes the thing off, cuts it, and he falls down, sacrificing himself so people below don't get electrocuted. And then he has his flare, moves to help people who are underneath rubble from behind the stage. And that one little boy who he's been helping throughout this entire movie, he when the stupid mayor who was Gordon tried to tell her don't go out there because there's going to be people trying to kill you, and her dumb ass still got out there and got shot. Everyone's in fear of him, and Bruce pulls the kid out, and it took that one thing for everyone else to follow behind him. That's such a good scene. And this is also juxtaposed because when I told you about the guys that were recording themselves beating up people, they were going to beat up that nice Asian guy. And this is when he shows up, and the guy's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Vengeance." Batman is very physical in this movie. He beats the hell out of people when he has to fist fight, just pounding people. And even a young boy who you can tell is being initiated into this life, even to the point where he's like, "You didn't attack me, so I'm gonna let you go. Get the hell out of here." And he looks to the guy who he just saved from getting pummeled, and he's like, "Please don't hurt me." And I can't believe how in these comic booky worlds, I can't believe how stupid people are. It's like you can't tell that the guy dressed as a bat just saved your life. And everybody's mad at the vigilante, but the vigilante is actively working with the police. That's actually one of the best things I love about it. I like that it's not like the Nolan verse where he's working with Gordon until you get to the end of the Dark Knight and for the rest of Dark Knight Rises, were then, oh, now Batman's helping us fight these people who've taken over Gotham, these terrorists. It's not like uh, Batman and Batman Begins was like, oh, we believe you, Batman. You know, Commissioner calls you and everything, but oh no, these villains somehow easily got us all to believe that you are the bad guy. And I guess you can say in Batman Forever and in Batman and Robin, he's still close with the police, I suppose. But this is a very good representation of them calling him a freak, not trusting him, showing the distrust that this, I guess, upper ranking officer, because Jim is not a lieutenant and he's definitely not a commissioner. Probably got the job after this because everybody kept being corrupt and getting killed. Um, he put so much trust, and people trust Jim Gordon. And one of the things that Batman says to him, you know, when it's revealed that he's going to the body that was involved with Falcone, the Falcone drug bust, and he's like, "Well, I was part of that too." He's like, "Yeah, but you're a good cop. You're not corrupted. You're not bad. So he's not coming after you." You know, even Gordon. At one point, Gordon is frustrated because it's been 2 years. He doesn't know what Batman looks like. You're not gonna know what Batman looks like, but he has so much trust in him to the point where he helps break him out of jail. One of the best scenes after the church scene where a guy gets his head blown up. The police have Batman in a holding cell. They don't pull off his mask for some reason, and Gordon is trying to hold people back. Well, Batman gets up and someone tries to pull his mask. He's hit three officers, and the corrupt lieutenant is just like, "Hey, you something you want to add assaulting an officer to that?" He's like, "You can add a third one to that if you want." And they give Gordon a room. Gordon's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to punch me. Take my key. Open the door, go down the hallway." He even helps him out. They have a secret meeting where they meet up, and no one knows where the bat signal is. No one meets up there but Gordon and Batman, and it's great. I appreciate that. I like their relationship. And again, I told you no one feels like filler. Alfred helps decode the Riddler's cryptic thing that he left for the Batman to figure things out at each of these crimes. Like Alfred had did some work. I don't know if it was with MI6 in this universe, but as of recently with the modern Alfred, I mean from middle 2000s on up, Alfred has been a secret agent. He's before his time with the Waynes. So Andy Serkis does a really good job in here. Now, Alfred does kind of walk with a cane, but does a really good job. As a matter of fact, Bruce Wayne is not, and I'm going to just get to the changes right now. Bruce Wayne does not live in like a manor, he lives in a high rise. Like, Batman has a motorcycle, and a lot of times he's sneaking into places because he has his costume he's able to fit everything in a backpack and already have things on. Already has the black face paint on, able to sneak in, throw his things on, and then get to rumbling. Some big changes are Martha Wayne is actually in Arkham. She is Martha Arkham that becomes Martha Wayne. Her mother killed her father because of abuse and kills herself, and Martha was in and out of institution, which led to while Mr. Thomas Wayne was running for mayor, journalists are going to throw this stuff out there, and Bruce's dad did not want that to go out there, not because of the politics, which was the Riddler assumed, which is what Bruce even assumed. He went to Falcone and asked him to just get the guy to not do it because he was thinking about his son and his wife, which Alfred confirmed that to him, saying that his father was a good man, but he just made a mistake because he didn't realize that Falcone, he should have realized that Falcone went that extra step. And when the guy didn't listen to fear, he killed the man. And as a matter of fact, his father was going to turn himself in, but was murdered. Falcone put it on Mahoney, one of the other crime families, because they knew that Falcone would be, Thomas Wayne would be in his back pocket. Alfred kind of thought that maybe it was Falcone, but I like the fact in this movie that they do not tell you 100% who killed him. Because even Alfred's like, I wish I can say 100% it was him because it could have just been a random street thug that killed your parents. I don't know. It's just the same day that he said he was going to do it, that he was going to turn himself in, he also ended up getting killed. And one of the twists, which was a funny twist, everyone thinks that the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell, really good job. Did not looked at him, didn't go, oh, that's Colin Farrell. I said that's Oswald Cobblepot. Um, one of the big things is that the big twist. You think it was Penguin who was the rat. It wasn't the Penguin. It was actually Falcone himself. The biggest drug bust, which happened Batman Year One, so he had to have something to do with that. The biggest drug bust was actually just a fake. Falcone had been running everything, taking the Thomas Wayne's renewal fund and just using that to make more money. Still doing the drug thing. It's incredible. Now the Riddler, I'm going to talk to you about how crazy, because he's going after there's cops that are corrupt. There's the DA who gets murdered. His whole people are in the Iceberg Lounge. Another little touch. That's a cameo because Iceberg Lounge is where Penguin usually has his things at. Another change before I forget is that Selena is actually I told you she's an illegitimate child of Falcone, but she does end up scratching his face because she has these very long nails. She's very well trained too. They don't. One of the things I appreciate about this movie, they don't ask where Batman gets his tech from. They don't say, "Well, how did he train to be a super fighter and how did Catwoman train?" No, it's here's the movie, here's the characters. You guys probably know them already, right? Um, dumb detective work. Did all that. Says Batman things. Paid for Sins of the Father, which is pretty stupid. One, and I probably just lost my spot here. I lost my spot. What was going on next, guys? But I'm gonna go on the next thing on my list here. Um, the Riddler. I said the Riddler. The Riddler is very scary because he is a guy who was an orphan. And one of the reasons why he hates Bruce Wayne is that, oh, everyone goes on about you being an orphan because you're rich, but having that money kind of makes it easy, right? And Riddler was like, I was an orphan too, in the Wayne's orphanage, and he's like, waking up screaming because rats are biting your fingers and all this other stuff. But he obviously has really bad mental health issues because he thinks that Batman was working with him the entire time. And even Batman's like, I wasn't working with you. He even said, well, you brought Falcone out in the open like I asked you to. Remember the riddle? And he's like, I didn't do that for you. I was just bringing him outside. Because Riddler ends up sniping him. Riddler's entire hideout was near where Falcone was doing his dirt. So at first I thought that maybe Riddler was the son of the guy that got killed. No, it's just he was an orphan who was unfortunately, inspired by Batman, and that's one of the things that makes Bruce go. I need to kind of change how people see me as Batman because if I'm inspiring people to do this crazy stuff like kill public officials and bomb the city and still say the city's still corrupt, doesn't matter about this new mayor, we're gonna get him. And they were able to break into the computer after Bruce and Rodriguez were able to get underneath the floor. He had a militia, like I told you. There were people in a chat room, and they all dressed up like him with his mask, even with the Riddler's glasses. He wears these nice little clear frames, and it's ridiculous. There's more than a baker's dozen, at least 13 to 15 people, and that's a scary thing. They all went into the dome knowing that's where people were going to go, and they were just going to start. They're not going to shoot the mayor, the new mayor lady. They're just going to shoot everybody, and it's ridiculous. And that's a very scary real world thing. You think back to the Joker movie, where they were afraid that people were going to be inspired by the Joker, which one person kind of did act like the Joker when it came to the riots in 2020, but I won't get into that. Um, this is another thing that people this is very real world with hidden chat rooms where people have agendas, January 6th incident, things like that. That's mm, mm. The Riddler's very frightening because he looks like this geeky pencil pushing weirdo, and he's just super smart. And of course, he tells Batman and says, you weren't as smart as I thought you were, but he couldn't even figure out that Batman and Bruce Wayne were the same person. And at first, Bruce thought he did figure it out because he was looking at his board. His board had Batman and it had Bruce and it had their faces circled. But for some reason, the only thing the Riddler kept saying is Bruce Wayne's the only person we didn't kill, which is unfortunate. there's a little bit of a plot hole, but it doesn't really. I don't really care that much about it. When I thought about it, I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you did figure out that you were Batman, why would he try to kill you? Or maybe he would try to kill you just because he saw you as part of the problem and you're just faking it, right? Maybe that's it. Uh, I know I've gone on for 30 minutes. Give me just a little bit more time because I want to talk about the Batman tech. He had a motorcycle that kind of looked like it had the little bat ears from the traditional Batman outfit, but he has this Batmobile that looks like a souped up '68 Mustang. Big old turbine engine in the back that has blue flames. He's able to just speed over things. There's an amazing chase scene. If you see this movie or anything, watch it for that chase scene. 'Cause that chase scene is amazing. Um, and he has some other tech that's going on here. So he doesn't use batarangs. He has this little bat thing there that's kind of like a combat knife that he uses once. And I'm kind of disappointed he didn't have batarangs, but it's okay. He has these contact lenses that are able to record and send images back to another computer. Now that the sound and everything isn't perfect on it, but the fact that he's able to go back and replay crime scenes that he's been watching just so he can see clues that he might have missed. He does it in real time. He has a printer thing that's able to he flip the image on the computer, press the button, and print out the whole thing. It's tech is amazing. Um, he also did smoke bomb. Now, when he his cool thing about his suit, handguns, Uzis, rifles don't penetrate him. But he got shot point blank with a shotgun and it hurt. He wasn't bleeding, but it hurt bad. To the point where Selena finally comes in, saves him. Because no one can get out of the city, right? It's everyone's been pushed in this one central location because of the flooding. But yeah, after she saves him, the same guy that had shot him goes up and is about to kill her. He has a vial of something green. Now, I know in movies they go, "Oh, that's a shot of adrenaline." It actually looks a lot like Bane juice, like traditional juice me up stuff. Because even in this movie, they call people drop heads, where people get high off of putting these special eye drops in their eyes. Even a lot of public officials are doing it, everyone's doing it. So I kind of think that was like a shout out to the Bane juice because he went roid rage on that guy. He saved Selena, but he's beating this guy in the face, and I thought he killed him, but he didn't. And this is when you get the little turnaround when Gordon asked the guy, "Who is he?" Because he had to pull Batman off of him. He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Vengeance." And this is when Bruce is like, "I gotta change because I'm inspiring the wrong thing." One of my favorite scenes, and it's less than a minute, where he cuts out the lights in the evil bad guys club. That's a front club to another club. He cuts out all the lights, and he's doing it's this elevator scene where he's up on the top, jumps down, and he's fighting these people. The only light that you see is from the gunfire, and it looks really, really good. And that's another thing about the look of this movie. Everything, most, I want to say 85% of the movie happens at night, but you can see. And that's thank you God. I am tired of nighttime movies where they like, all right, we're gonna add this rain and some digital rain here and some lens flare, so you can't really see what's going on, and that'll hide and make the action cool. No, I appreciate being able to see people move. I like that the moments where I'm not supposed to see, where it's like Batman's in the shadows and then he creeps out slowly, or that fight scene I told you about. I appreciate that there are moments when you're not supposed to see and they do it perfectly, then they let you see everything else. Um, they did a really good job of just the world setting, like showing Penguin's not in is not in control yet. The end of the movie, Bruce basically said in another voiceover, there are going to be people doing the power struggle. Even Selena said it's going to be a power struggle, which is kind of sad because they go their separate ways, and he never tells her who he is. But she Bruce gets another jolt of he could be doing more because there's a normal guy at the funeral for the mayor that died who's like, yeah, oh, these rich people sitting up here, they kind of have it coming because they don't care about us. And even Selena says, these are rich white dudes dying. She literally says that, you know. I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel bad for Bruce Wayne, which probably prompted him to not tell her that he's Bruce Wayne, which is kind of interesting. But she even realized, she says, "You already have a mistress," because she's like, "Just run away with me. Probably gonna do another score someplace else." And she wanted to steal Falcone's money because that was, and it was very much confirmed that Falcone also killed her mother. He likes to strangle people. It's kind of weird. Um, but yeah, that's her whole thing. She gets in stealing because it's what I am old. A very realistic take on a character. Uh, but yeah, he already has a mistress. He has to help the people. While she says the city's never gonna change, he's like, I gotta try. And that's very much appreciated for a Batman. That is Batman. He's sympathetic, empathetic, and he tries. And yeah, I that's why I said that no one feels like filler, because even at the end of this movie, where Riddler is, he has to have some. I don't want to start throwing out names of conditions I think the Riddler has, but he loses his shit, guys, when he sees that the people were saved and that Batman saved the people, or he loses his shit when Batman goes, I wasn't working with you. No one's gonna remember you because you're a psychopath in jail in Arkham, by the way. But he gets cheered up by a guy who says 1 minute you're on top of the world, next minute you're a clown. And he even gives him a riddle about what's worthless but is worth a lot. It's rare and it's worthless, especially when you but it's worth a lot, especially if you don't have a lot. And it's the answer to the riddle is friend, right? And it's obvious that it's the Joker. It's the person doing a laugh. He gets him to laugh, and it's very hard to match the laugh of Mark Hamill, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and even Joaquin Phoenix. He had a good laugh too. It's very hard to get people to do a good Joker laugh. But I'm kind of uneasy about that. It's kind of like, okay, I get what you're doing. Okay, you're trying to be like, well, if we do a sequel, you might see this guy, and that's fine. Doesn't take off any points. Um, there was no end credit scene, but the same computer speak when Batman was able to talk with the Riddler, trying to find out, okay, who's your next victim, right? It did say goodbye with the question mark, and there is a website at the end. I will add a link to people talking about that website at the bottom of this description as well. Is there anything else I want to say? So I want to compare this for a minute, not just to what I consider the best Batman movies, right? Which is, it's a shame because I should just compare it to first outings, right? But it's hard to do that because this movie might not be better than Dark Knight, but I think it's on par with Batman Returns. And to me, it's, I'm talking about live action Batman movies. For me, it's Dark Knight, Batman Returns. Batman and Batman Begins are kind of on even level. This movie's right up there with with Dark Knight. Such a good opening. I like that is I like that the movie is not trying to. Oops. I like that the movie is not really trying to go, hey, this is a real world setting, guys. It's going, no, the issues are very real world, where the downtrodden are tired of being stepped on. Someone needs to help. Even the mayor is telling, you know, even the new ladies are gonna be mayor tells Bruce at the funeral, you really got to step up, man. Your parents did a lot of philanthropy. You're not really doing anything, and it's so rare to see Bruce, to the point where Alfred's like, you don't go out, so I have to have board of directory meetings here. He's trying to say you got to be a person too, right? But they're not trying. Matt Reeves is not trying to make this super realistic. Although he has been quoted saying, don't plan on seeing Superman in this universe. Which, you know what, you don't need to have Superman in a Batman movie per se. But if you come up with another Superman that's not Henry Cavill, because for some reason you guys don't want to use Henry Cavill, he's a good Batman. I can see another Batman meeting Superman movie with this Batman who is doesn't kill, mind you, doesn't use guns, but he's like, okay, I was raw emotion and scars. I got to realize that I need to move past that and not be stuck in the past and show. You fear against the villains, yes, but I don't want the people fearing me, which is great because in broad daylight he was helping that same little boy get airlifted out of there, and it was all over the news. Batman's image is definitely going to change, and I like that he works with the police. I love that. Now I like that they don't trust him, but they don't necessarily go against him because of Gordon. I love that. Um, but yeah, when comparing it, it's to me it's right up there with Dark Knight and Batman Returns, two of my favorite Batman movies of all time. And I told you in the beginning, I was struggling to find a reason to not give this movie a 5 out of 5. It's a 5 out of 5. It's very hard to mess up Batman movies. To mess up Batman, it's very hard to mess up Spider Man. Those are two cheat movies, two cheat codes to get really good movies. And all you have to do is just use source material and just have people that care about these characters in these movies. I'm also very glad that Multiverse of Madness moved from March to May. You don't want none of this smoke. You don't want none of this bat powered smoke. So, Noah's, I know you've been listening to me talk on and on for about 40 minutes about this movie. Just, yeah, it's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. It's a really good first step. I'm please DC, WB, AT&T, whoever is in charge of this, have something connected to this movie. I love Michael Keaton. He's great. This man needs. If you're not gonna have him connected to anything else, give him his own separate 3 movies. He's definitely deserved it. Sorry, Ben Affleck, you probably would have done decent in this role too because you had a very physical Batman as well. I apologize. So 5 out of 5 for me. If you have seen the movie, please let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you've I was gonna say if you made it this far, all the way to the end, put a little bat in the comment section as well too. But as always, guys, 5 out of 5, good movie. Go out and see it as soon as you get the chance. Thank you once again for taking some time out to listen to me talk about this really good movie. Be good, be blessed. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you'll be notified of more videos like this. And don't forget to share the video as well. Wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe out there, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, do not be a jerk, and I will most definitely see you guys next time.